Welcome to the Roy Morgan Weekly Update, a week in which many assumed Prime Minister Anthony Albanese would call the federal election turned into a waiting game as Cyclone Alfred slowly approached the Queensland and New South Wales coasts and created significant uncertainty and turbulence in its wake, including an improved result for the ALP government, which is back in front. The Roy Morgan poll has the ALP on 51.5%, up 2%, regaining a narrow lead ahead of the coalition on 48.5% on a two-party preferred basis. If a federal election were held now, the result would be a hung parliament. Either the coalition or the ALP would require the support of minor parties and independents to form a government. As well as the wait for Cyclone Alfred, which extended throughout last week, several other events impacted voters, including the circumnavigation of Australia by a flotilla of Chinese warships, continuing unrest in the Ukraine, with the Prime Minister allowing for the possibility of Australian peacekeepers to be sent, and the opposition leader ruling it out. The uncertainty created in the global economy by President Trump's flip-flopping on imposing tariffs, and on the home front, an election in Western Australia, easily won by Labor. Now, often in times of international unrest and uncertainty and natural disasters, there's a rise in support for the incumbent government, and this was a clear factor during the early days of the COVID pandemic. This week, there were significant swings to the Albanese government in Queensland, Victoria, South Australia and Tasmania that drove the overall result in favour of the ALP. Government confidence, whether people think the country's going in the right direction or the wrong direction, increased 2 points to 81.5. However, still below the neutral level because more Australians say the country's going in the wrong direction, 51.5%, than the right direction, 33%. Consumer confidence, ANZ Roy Morgan consumer confidence fell 0.8 points to 86.9. The decrease this week was driven by a 4-point decrease in Queensland, an increasing pessimism about Australia's economic outlook over the next year and 5 years. But at 86.9, consumer confidence is still nearly 2 points higher than it was prior to the recent interest rate cut. Inflation expectations increased 0.2% to 4.7% this week, and are now essentially back at the level they were for the 3 weeks before the mid-February interest rate cut. So Australians now expect inflation of 4.7% over each of the next 2 years. And now business confidence. Roy Morgan interviews around 1,500 businesses each month to gauge their views on the company's prospects as well as their assessment of the broader Australian economy. And in February, there was little change in the outlook of Australian businesses, with the indicator virtually unchanged at 108.5. Now, interviewing took place throughout February, so the Reserve Bank's decision to cut interest rates came too late to have a significant impact on the February result, but we'll be keenly watching this for subsequent months. Over the 2 summer months, January and February, the most confident industries were mining, which recorded a business confidence of 132.6, finance and insurance services on 128.7, public administration and safety on 127.5, and education and training on 125.6, all well above the national average and all well above 100, the neutral point. In particular, mining and education and training have consistently been among the most confident industries over the last several months since the middle of 2024. At the other end of the scale, we also have some familiar industries, with those in wholesale trade recording the lowest business confidence at only 85.2, just below agriculture, forestry and fishing on 86, and electricity, gas, water and waste on 90. Thanks for your interest in Roy Morgan's latest results, and I'll be back next week to bring you the latest results for consumer confidence, inflation expectation, voting intentions, and most importantly, unemployment. Thanks for listening.